Hi viewers, thank you for joining us on another edition of More Light TV. How are you today? I remain your host, More Light. Please, if you are yet subscribed to our YouTube channel, More Light TV, please kindly hit on the subscribe button, give us a like, give us a comment. We would like to hear from you what you think on this topic. Also, please do share this video so that more people can get to watch it. More Light TV is live now, and we promise to release insightful educational videos that has to do with governance, politics, economy and development almost on a daily basis or every other day. Why? Because we want to address all these problems in Nigeria, and we want Nigeria to move from a third world country to a first world country, and we want development to reach the grassroots. Whether you live in the rural area or in the urban area, we want development to get to you. For this reason, More Light TV has come alive. Please, if you are yet subscribe to this channel. So today I want to talk about, we have too much of politics and political activities in Nigeria, but no governance. I want us to talk about this. Now, everywhere you go in Nigeria, you will see politics everywhere. At every nook and cranny you turn to in Nigeria, you will see the presence of politics everywhere. I mean, presence of politics is everywhere. There is no state you go to in Nigeria that you will not see politics there, that you will, no local government you go to that you will not see the presence of politics there. Politics is present everywhere in Nigeria, but not governance. So what does that tell us? I mean, if we have politicians everywhere across the various 36 states in Nigeria, one would normally think that the activities of these politicians should impact positively on the country and the state of the nation, but that is not the case in Nigeria. I mean, we've had democracy now for over 22 years, and we cannot boast of governance, talk less of good governance. Now, when we are talking about governance, we are talking about how the politicians, these our elected politicians, are able to manage both the human and the natural resources and every other resources of the country to advance the lives of the people and to move the country to development. But when you look at the activities of our own politicians in Nigeria, their activities have not translated into anything governance, talk less of good governance, neither has it translated into development. 30 years ago, the state of our primary education is still the same state it is right now, and even worse. As a matter of fact, this day and age where we have many more politicians is when our education has gone worst. Before now, at least children go to school. I mean, free education at the primary level. Like, I went to a public primary school in Nigeria during my own time in the 80s, and I turned out well. But these days, if you dare make a mistake to put your children in a public primary school, I tell you, you've destroyed their lives. Why? Because the public primary schools are now in a shambles. So you have to pay private schools for your child to have quality education. Now that means there is no governance in such a country, because a country where there is governance, every child must go to school. Whether your parent has money or not, that child must be enrolled in school from primary level up to that child finishes secondary school, and it will be free. Yes, see, in a country where there is governance, taxpayers' money work for them. After the citizens have paid tax, they do not go back and take out of their disposable income to still pay school fees, to still pay for their health care, to still pay exorbitant rent, amount of rent. I learned that in Nigeria you even pay 2 years rent in advance. They don't use their money to generate electricity. In Nigeria we have generator. You see generators making noise. People will still buy fuel to generate their own electricity. After paying taxes to government, they will still dig borehole to get their water. If you don't do all these things in Nigeria yourself, government no government will do it for you. So why are the people paying taxes if there will be no social goods? I mean, in Nigeria, no pipe-borne water. You cannot drink the water that comes out from the tap, and it was not like that many years back. Now that we have more politicians, more aspiring, more audacious politicians, present in the Nigerian politics, that is when things are getting worse. Governance has to do with making sure the people have access to social welfare. The fact that they are born in Nigeria alone should give them a right to some certain amenities, some certain public provision, public welfare. I mean, the fact that you're a Nigerian, you should have access to free school from primary to secondary. Let's leave university. You can ask them to pay for their university education, but from that primary to secondary, it should be free. Why? Because you are developing your human power. You are investing in human development of your citizens, of the people, because these are the people that will become productive citizens in the nearest future, and they will be the population that will be paying the taxes, because they will be the working force and they will be paying the taxes. So you invest in them, you make primary education, secondary education compulsory. Now, in a country where there is governance, there will be employment. The industries, the manufacturing companies will work. But what do we see? The moment we have more politicians in Nigeria, all the manufacturing companies have been killed. They've all died. I mean, many manufacturing companies have died in natural death in Nigeria. Even in the time of the military rule, manufacturing company did not suffer this much the way they are suffering right now under these politicians. They are struggling to meet up with their cost on a daily basis. Their sourcing of raw materials have become impossible with the insecurity in the country, the closure of the border, so many other things. The sourcing of dollar has made their sourcing of raw material impossible. What about power? Hey, some of them, they talk about how they spend on diesels, the cost they spend on diesel. I mean, in a country where there is governance, those infrastructures should be a given. There should be constant electricity. There should be constant power supply. There should be pipe-borne water, so that when you open the tap, you will find water there. I mean, the people are given a conducive atmosphere to thrive. All the people need to do is to work and to think and to put themselves to use, to put their talent to use, to become productive. But in a situation whereby the government does not provide all these things, and even the citizens that are trying to provide these things for themselves are being stifled. The citizens are even making effort to do all these things for themselves, but while they are trying to generate their electricity for themselves, government would increase fuel, so they can't even get fuel or diesel to buy to generate their electricity. They make insecurity a problem for them, and they are scared to move around freely. Some can no longer farm. I mean, in a country where there is good governance, agricultural sector will thrive. People can farm even at the back of their houses, at the back of their compound. It used to be like that. We had surplus of food. Why? Because everywhere was safe. No one was scared to go to their farm to take what belongs to them, to harvest what they have planted that belongs to them, and take to the market to sell. Even the transportation sector is poor. We don't have trains. We don't have rails to convey the food from the rural area to the urban city. I mean, no governance. Talk less of good governance. So when they are talking about good governance, Nigeria has not gotten there yet. We are not, because we don't even have governance in place. Access to justice in Nigeria is poor. I mean, it is in Nigeria that justice is delayed for years. Once you are a poor person, you may not even have access to justice, and if you have access to the justice, your case will be pushed to, it will be pushed to, you may not get justice for another 10 years or even 20 years. It is that bad. A country that has governance that will not be the case. You will have access to justice. Everything will work. We will not have a systemic problem like we have currently in Nigeria. So despite the number of politicians we have even at the Senate, can you see how many they are in the Senate? There are so many, and with their numbers I can't see how their activities impact on the country. I cannot see how their activity impact positively on the lives of the people. The people are made poorer by the day, but these politicians are feeding fat. They are getting richer. See how much they are earning. Same with the House of Rep. Their activities are not impacting on the lives of the people. Even the executive arm of government, every time since these politicians have assumed power, the budget is in hundreds of billions and trillions, but these trillions have not translated into any development, into any governance. Talk less of good governance for the people of Nigeria. So where is the problem? Where is the missing link? We need to find the missing link, because that tells us that there is a lot wrong with the choices of people, with the mix of people we are putting at the corridor of power in Nigeria. They are not the right set of people that can bring about the governance. We've said this a lot, that what we have in Nigeria is politics, but we do not have governance. What we have in Nigeria is politics and political play, political games, but we do not have governance. Because of what use is all this politics, is all these political campaigns, if there is no governance? Talk less of good governance. I mean, if all the activities of these politicians does not translate into strengthening our democracy, does not bring about development, advancing the cause of people's lives, of what use is the politics? I think we need to put an end to it. Now, I'm not saying we should write off politics completely, but I'm simply saying every one of us should get involved in the politics of Nigeria, such that we begin to decide who should govern us credibly. We put our thoughts into it, not that we leave it to chances. No, these guys have caused so much havoc. Imagine someone like Omoyele Sowore in the Senate. Imagine someone like Kwankwaso in the Senate. Imagine people that are clamoring for a change in this country in the Senate. They will start by changing the laws. All of us cannot be president of Nigeria. I think we need to start from somewhere. We need to start paying attention to those who are leading and ruling the country, from local government, from sub-regional government, from the regional to the federal level. We need to pay attention to all the people we are electing into offices. I mean, these are public offices that we need to take more seriously, because private sector, before they can hire you to be a management member, you must be very skilled, and in addition to your skill, you must be talented, and you must be credible with integrity and with character. I mean, they must have tested you and proven that you are competent enough to do. But you see these politicians, oh no, some, we don't even know the identity of some. I mean, and we have them contesting for presidency. How? In a country of 200 million people, does that mean we all are that docile to allow this tout to keep recycling themselves with all their political activities? It has not translated into development. Excuse me. That tells us a lot about those we are choosing to represent us in government. Until we begin to change them, until we begin to put thought into those whom we choose, nothing will change in Nigeria. Development may still be far-fetched. And guess what? I'm just spreading more light.